I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of December 18, 2023. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Here.
Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Koski.
Here.
Levon.
Here.
Saloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
Approval of council minutes. Councilman Gerhardstein.
I make a motion that we allow Councilperson Saloto to abstain from voting for the council minutes of December 11th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to allow Councilwoman Saloto to abstain from voting on the meeting minutes of December 11, 2023. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
I make a motion we approve the council minutes from December 11th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, that the council meeting minutes of December 11, 2023 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Abstain.
Thielman.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor Safety Director. He is excused today. Reports and communications from the Director of Law.
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
Any questions or comments for the Law Director? All right. Thank you, Jeremy. Communications from Council President. I have none. Do I have any amendments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, move on to administrators. Please, Chief Bush.
Thank you, Council President Levon. I have nothing further other than report that was submitted.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief. Fire Chief Grossman.
Thank you, Council President. I do have a few things. I'd like to start by thanking you and Councilman Gerhardstein for coming down and taking a tour of the station, kind of looking at a few things that we have going on down there. Any other councilmen or women would like to stop down, please let me know. I'd be happy to give you a tour and show you around. Any public is always welcome as well, so we're always there. We had two incidents over the weekend I'll touch on. We had a one car garage fire on the south end of 290th Street. We got there, the garage was fully involved. We were able to put it out quickly, keep it from extending into the other structures surrounding, but the garage was a total loss. That's still under investigation on that. And then Sunday morning, about 1:50, we received a call from dispatch for a large fire in the area. When we got en route, they kind of narrowed it down that it was in Green Vision, the compost recycling facility there. So we arrived a little bit after 1:50. We cleared there about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So about 36 hours on scene. We pumped about 2 million gallons of water. We had mutual aid from about 6 to 7 neighboring departments helped us out initially. We carried on throughout yesterday afternoon, this evening and today just with our personnel. About 190 hours of overtime from our personnel that were on scene for that 36-hour period. And we did issue a stop work order for the facility until we could get them into compliance with the Ohio Fire Code for storage, excess storage that kind of hindered us in our performing our duties. No one was injured. Only loss was a piece of fire hose that got ran over by a semi and some mulch. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Chief, speaking about the fire hose, so I went down there this morning. There was quite a length of fire hose from the fire hydrant at the tracks to where you had to fight that fire. Is that the proper distance, or in the future does the city have to look at that and have to have another water put farther back? Because I can only imagine the time it took you guys to hook to that hydrant and get that back to where you were fighting that fire.
Yeah, so we have pre-plans and we carry enough hose specifically for that facility. I know there's areas where we do have long lays that we can get there quickly. Back when I first started 20 plus years ago, we did have a large incident down there. We had no water on that side of the tracks. So the city did install a hydrant underneath the tracks, so we do have water without shutting the tracks down. There was also supposed to be a length of water main installed by the facility from that hydrant to the facility. That was never completed. The facilities changed hands multiple times and we can never get that done. So that would definitely aid to get water back to that facility. We did have 2 dry hydrants on that property in the pond. They weren't functioning due to debris that had fallen in and lack of maintenance. That's part of also our stop work order to get those fixed. So that hampered us there as well to be able to draft out of the pond. We did some workarounds and were able to use pond water for a good part of that eventually, but just delayed that action. So there is many avenues that we need to address and look into, and that is one of them.
So that's going to be addressed before they're allowed to start back up?
Yes, that's part of the stop work order
Okay.
and going through that and looking through those.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Any other comments or questions? Councilman Jaworski.
Chief, based on all this activity, I know you guys had some room within your budget for overtime, but are you creeping up now on that budget number?
I just got back into the office at about 5 p.m., so
Okay.
I just kind of pulled some initial numbers for you. I believe we had room, and I'm thinking we're into the next year. So I think we're, with the next time the cycle ends and we have to pay out, it'll be in next year's budget. I'm pretty sure about that, but I gotta look into that tomorrow.
Okay. And then to follow up with Councilman Hartstein, do you guys, I mean, how often is that site inspected?
Annually, yeah. I was one of the last people to inspect it the year before last when I was in the Fire Prevention Bureau. They were cited at that time for pile size, and they did make corrections after a period of time. They were able to get it under control. This time of year, obviously, there's a large pile of leaves, and they get overloaded, so.
Councilwoman Salotta.
I'm just curious about the hydrants that you said that are near that facility. So those hydrants are for them to maintain, or does the city maintain them?
That would be, they were required to put those in after the previous fire, and they were required to maintain those dry hydrants. So
you guys don't have anything to do with like inspecting that they're like?
previous years, we have gone down and flowed them and worked them, but there's been some infill into the lake that has obstructed that, so
Yeah.
that needs to be remedied, and they need to kind of be dug back out, so.
Councilman Jaworski.
Mr. Council President, I would request that the law director look over the lease that was signed with that property, because I think there may have been language in there requiring them to have that stuff in there and be in working order, and maybe we can, you know, even attack them on that angle too.
Did you look into that too, Moderator? Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief. Finance Director Hunter.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to add to my written report. I just wish that you all have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Hartstein.
So, Pete, I see they started the sewers on 296th Street.
Sure.
So over the winter, now that they have construction going on, who's responsible
Contractor.
to maintain the road for plowing?
The contractor will do that.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Any further questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Balak.
Have the bids gone out about Green Ridge dredging?
We have a lot of interested bidders. Bid opening is not this coming Friday, following Friday, and getting a lot of phone calls.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Pete. Service Director Strouser.
Thank you, Council President. I did want to address, I do have one piece of legislation on the agenda tonight. It's for a leak machine. It was for our 2023 capital budget, and we held off actually purchasing it because I knew I wasn't going to have it for this season, obviously. And then I was trying to hold off and wait until another competitive bidder was trying to get on the state bid. That did not happen. So we did go out and looking at the other machines. they're fit for our needs, and we put it in there. So the amount that, and the legislation tonight is $1,900 more than what I originally asked for. But I came in cheap on my stump grinder, the chassis that we had and stuff like that, so we're well within our budget for the capital for 2023. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that, it was $1,900 over. That's all I have. And Merry Christmas.
Councilman Jaworski?
Yeah. Ron, what's going on with Kimball? My street wasn't picked up. It looked like portions of Rockefeller weren't even touched. I think Green Ridge, I mean, all that area around there wasn't even touched by them today.
As far as trash,
Anything.
Really?
Trash, recycling, nothing.
I'm unaware of that. I'll check into it tomorrow for sure. So I mean, because the past few months, 99% of the problems have just been with recycling, and now recycling has ended as of the 15th. So I mean, I'm sorry, yard waste, not recycling, I apologize. It's yard waste has ended, and that was the problem, was with yard waste. So I'll check into it tomorrow morning, I'll check into it, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Councilman Garstein?
Ron, I'm just giving you a follow-up to what I was asking Pete on. So you guys have discussed with the contractor, which is Great Lakes Crushing, for
Correct.
that road, about making sure that that's maintained. If like it snows today, that they're gonna make sure that the residents on that street can get out, because they're responsible for plowing.
So Dave went down there today, the assistant service director went there and met with the guy who's the contractor down there from Great Lakes. He did meet there, we had a meeting. We told him we are gonna salt that area heavily, just because the snow is gonna be an issue. So we're gonna plow, we are gonna go down, we're gonna plow the one side of the street that's open. They're gonna barricade off anything that has plates or any ditches or anything like that, but we are gonna open up our side of the road. They're gonna come in the morning, they're gonna back drag everybody's aprons, feather everything out into the street, whatever we have to do. They were very helpful today, offering the help. We'll have to see what happens when it actually snows. But I can tell you that whole area is gonna be heavily salted, so we're pushing less snow and making less of an issue, you know?
I think my point is, the residents on that street are gonna be inconvenienced enough with
They are absolutely gonna be, yes.
So I don't wanna make it any worse with snow or
Yeah,
ice.
I understand.
That's my concern.
I understand. And if we have to, we'll do like we do the senior apron program, we'll go on, I mean, if they don't get there quick enough. But the contractor has been, like I said, he was worried about it today, so he called me up and I said, hey, Dave, go down there. They met him, and they felt pretty confident that they were gonna do a decent job.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
Hey, Ron, with the backhaul, when do you think we'll have ownership of that if we approve the purchase this
The
meeting?
leaf machine, that's
Yes.
not for tonight? I think he's told me about 5 months, so I'll have that in May, so.
Any other questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Ron. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I have nothing to add to my monthly report. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Councilman Garstein.
So we received this in our mailbox. Is this just gonna be an ordinance form, or does this need to go into committee? The revisions for 1303?
I'd like to just put it in committee so I could explain to everybody
It's gonna go into committee.
what happened with that ordinance.
Okay.
Okay. Upon that, we got it, yes. So we're going to put chapter 1303.70 into the Legislation and Welfare Committee. And that was, everybody should have got, every council person should have gotten this in their mailbox today about making some changes to the occupancy permits. Any other questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Ray. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just want to let you know that Big B Coffee opened up last week, and they made a nice donation to the Holiday Helping Hand Program. I was able to turn it around and get gift certificates at Sweetberry, so we're able to, Wickliffe company helping out another Wickliffe company, helping out Wickliffe families, so wanted to let you know that.
Any questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Tim. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand, state your name for the clerk's record. Since these meetings are being recorded, she has a microphone that should be used, I should say. Each person will have a 5-minute max amount of time. Would anybody like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, we mark audience participation closed. Any committee reports? Any commission reports? Seeing no old business or new business, move on to ordinances. Oh, you want to do,
No, I'd like to call for a committee meeting.
you want to do after miscellaneous?
Do you want to do miscellaneous?
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
I thought we were doing that. Okay.
Ordinance number 2023-62, this is the third reading by title only, an ordinance providing temporary appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2024 and ending March 31st, 2024.
Suspension.
Adoption.
Oh, wait, adoption. Oh, yeah, adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, second by Councilman Bala to adopt ordinance 2023-62 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-66 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to transfer a sum of money from one fund to another and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-66 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Just so we're on the same page, this is what we had discussed earlier, where it's going to, in the eyes of the county, make us whole in this fund?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bala to adopt ordinance 2023-66 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-67 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to transfer a sum of money from the general fund to the sewer fund and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-67 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to adopt ordinance 2023-67 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-68 by title only, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Saloto, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-68 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bala to adopt ordinance 2023-68 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-69 by title only, an ordinance providing for compensation and other employment provisions for special police officers of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, and repealing any and all other ordinance or parts thereof that may be inconsistent with this ordinance, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension. Second.
Moved by Councilman Thielman, seconded by Councilman Bella, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-69 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gale.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes. Adoption.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Thielman, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein, to adopt ordinance 2023-69 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gale.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-70 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one new ODB Extreme Vac Leaf machine with requested equipment through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract for use by the Service Department of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Saloto, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-70 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gale.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Saloto, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to adopt ordinance 2023-70 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gale.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-71 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a then and now certificate by the finance director to make payment as a then and now to Todd Kalick and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bella, seconded by Councilman Kowski, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-71 on third and final reading. Discussion?
Ed,
Yeah, Councilman Bella?
just explain a little bit to this one.
The personal credit card was used and all the receipts were turned in at one time.
Okay, so just news and back. I seen the list, I just
And,
wanted
yeah,
Okay.
and there's discussion and it won't happen going forward.
okay, so city credit card,
Yes.
2 points?
Well,
No.
well, I have a credit card for my use for those purposes.
Okay,
But yeah, not one for that.
got it, thanks.
Tim,
Yes.
what have we done in the past that would have thought that this was okay to do it this year?
This was something new. This was the first time it has happened this way.
Okay. Is there any thoughts of changing the process of potentially hiring a vending firm, like PMI, kind of bring in snacks and whatever, drinks to the facility and manage the you know, the inventory for us, or going through a distribution channel?
Yeah, we had a trouble with the beer distributor this past year. They were only accepting checks, and to get a check sometimes too quickly, we couldn't make that happen, and then you'd have to wait another week for a delivery to be made. So there were some issues with the beer distributor this year that we're doing a different process with them next year, so that beer delivery should not be a problem, and the beer was a good chunk of what the expenses were.
Okay. Councilman Gerhardstein?
Excuse me, Tim, but if you look at the dates on this stuff,
Yeah.
Mr. Kalick runs the golf course, correct?
Correct.
Well, I mean, I would imagine he went on city time to do all this.
Correct.
So, I mean, if you look at the dates, he goes to one place twice in the same day. I mean, how is he passively managing the golf course? I mean, I don't understand how anybody thought this was gonna be a good idea. I mean, some of the dates that he's gone, if he's managing the golf course, I mean, he's gone some days, every other day going to the store.
Well, was he going all the time, or either some of the helpers just taking his card there?
It would be his personal credit card. I don't know if he sent somebody out with his own personal credit card.
Well,
That's very
you-
possible.
Sometimes.
Well, you can't do that either, excuse me, you can't do that either, because then how you have a kid going to the grocery store with a credit card for
Correct.
beer, then how are you verifying, you as the recreation director, verifying that all that beer went to the golf course?
We have receipts. And then they're not kids, there's older people that work there.
Well, I just don't think-
Understandable, but there's one credit card that's used making all these purchases, right? I think what Councilman Garrett's trying to get is no employee should be making these kind of purchases. And never should have thought it was a good idea. Councilwoman Sloto?
Well, I think it was a mistake, but I don't know if anybody has ever tried to keep like the stock of any type of establishment like that, but you know, sometimes it's difficult to keep things stocked, and you don't know how much you need, and it's summertime, and he was trying to manage things the best that he could. I don't think he understood the ramifications of using his own personal credit card, and he has all the receipts, so it was a mistake. And I don't think he was, throwing parties anywhere with the beer.
I didn't insinuate he was throwing parties.
Right, so, it was a mistake, and again, I think he was probably just trying to do his best to keep things stocked. So that's my take on it.
Councilwoman McCoskey?
I just want to know, was he contacting you and saying, hey, I'm in need of stuff, and you're like, well...
No. Last year, that was the case, yes. This year was different.
Councilman
And
Garrett?
he has run the golf course for 7 years.
6 to 7 years, yes. This year was the first year of this happening.
Councilman Jaworski?
Was there any way to verify, besides him just turning in receipts, that the items that were alleged to be purchased were actually purchased and used at the golf course?
The sales shows that there was, ample purchase of product to verify that way. We had, pretty substantial sales for beer and snacks. We had a lot of outings this year, and it was extremely busy this summer.
Councilman Bella?
Do we have extra coolers in the back where we keep, more stock or stuff, or should we look into that? I know we have the one up
yeah.
front, but stuff in the back.
Most of the stuff is bought at room temperature to keep it at room temperature until it's ready to go into cold storage. If you buy it cold storage first, then it goes.
Well, I'm just saying
Yeah.
is, if,
When you say coolers, Jim, do you mean like additional refrigerators?
yeah,
Yeah, there's one in the front and one in the back.
okay. Let's say if you have a big outing, you can go through a couple cases here.
Correct.
So if something to look at, something to store more in the back. So the purchase doesn't have to be every other day. So,
Councilwoman Sloto?
So, just because I know what it's like to have beer distributors kind of cop out on you and
Right.
not be able to deliver things when you need them. So, maybe you get a new distributor,
Yeah.
number one, and maybe you set up, regular, deliveries, and you get a distributor that can be called on real time and to deliver it, and you eliminate all of the issues. Because
And the other
I think he probably was panicking that he didn't have what he needed for outings.
And the other problem is you have to typically have a couple distributors because,
Right.
like with soda, with pop, Pepsi's not going to sell you Coke,
Right.
and so there are some persons who like certain outings, like certain brands
You can't get them
of
from
beer,
one
and you can't
distributor.
get them from
No.
distributor A.
No.
So those are some of the things that we run into.
Councilman Jaworski?
I don't know if this would be for the finance director, the law director, or whoever, but is there a written policy here in the city when it comes to this situation where there's a guidelines or rules that say, this is the channels that you must go through when you're making, purchases for something like this?
So there will be, partly because of this particular situation. The biggest problem here, the reason it's in front of you guys, is because the untimeliness of those getting turned in and getting all turned in. So we're going to be working on a lot of personnel policies within the city at the beginning of the year. This would have been one anyways, but it will be something that we address that way. And we are addressing it with the employee currently. And we can talk about that in executive session too, if you guys want.
I think that's what I was hoping for with this conversation. I don't think that Todd was trying to embezzle at all or anything like that, but I definitely think 5 months worth of purchases and without an expense report, any time in between and having no specific policy, I'm glad to hear that the plan is ultimately create a policy so that doesn't happen again, not just in the rec department, but throughout the whole entire city.
Absolutely.
Any further questions or any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Dale.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes. Adoption. Second.
Moved by Councilman Thielman, second by Councilman Ballard to adopt ordinance 2023-71 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Dale.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Resolutions, there are none. Other legislation? Miscellaneous, Councilwoman Saloto?
Yeah, I just wanted to call the Services and Special Equipment Committee meeting for the 15th at the end of the list of
Yes, to discuss the service capital improvement. Yeah, to add it on to follow the previous meetings that were already scheduled on this, January 15th.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous? Councilman Jaworski?
I guess just a request, Mr. Council President, for those committee meetings, particularly we're going to be talking about the potential budgeting of, I guess, capital equipment items or any other kind of items. If the administrators could all provide us, I know some already have, I don't know if everyone has, but if you could just at least put those in a hard copy in our mailboxes well prior to those meetings so we have time to properly go over everything, would certainly appreciate that.
Agreed. Okay. Councilman Gerhardstein?
Mr. Council President, can we even discuss the capital improvements without discussing the budget? The first budget's not out, can we?
We can. We can allot money aside for the capital.
Okay.
We absolutely can. Especially, it's not going to go. It would have to go to the finance committee. So these committees would recommend it to the finance committee. So it would be all encumbersome with when the finance committee meets on the actual budget as well. So these are just reporting it out of their specific committees into the finance committee.
Okay.
Any other miscellaneous? Councilman Thielman?
I just want to thank all the administrators for their hard work and a happy New Year, Merry Christmas. And to all my fellow council members, thank you for all your hard work over this year, and look forward to next year.
Any other miscellaneous topics? I'll entertain a motion to move in executive session.
Make a motion, we move to executive session.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to move into executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, or compensation of a public employee or official. Discussion? Guys? Discussion?
Yeah.
Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella. Yes. Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Susan.